Let's see what Jesus has to say about all this. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. This is the practice. This is what A Course in Miracles is all about. It is so that you understand how the mind works, how the ego works, how it will deceive you into believing things that are just not true. So for some of you, it may be that your ego tells you that you are a failure, that you are too thin or too fat, or your breasts are too small or too big, or your partner is wrong, or your house is in the wrong place, or your hair is blonde and it should be dark, or your hair is dark and it should be lighter. It will attack anything that it can, and you are all susceptible to the ego's negativity every single day. And this comes through the way your survival instincts work. So what's happening with our dear one is going to a strange place, not knowing anybody, not knowing her way to this place or that place, having to use Google Maps to find her way around initially. As far as the ego is concerned, this is a bad idea. This is a threat to her physical survival. And you must remember that some of these structures in your mind, your brain, now the mind is not the brain. That was a correction we made there. Some of these structures in the brain are designed just for physical survival, which is unknown environment, danger, return to known environment. That is what the ego is all about, known environment. And in your society, because you own homes and you are in these often very, very stable places, the ego will say, sit in your living room and do nothing. Watch the television, watch your favorite show, have your favorite food. It wants you to stay the same. Now, the times that you have chosen to be born in are not that, are they? Everything is not staying the same. So what we want you to understand is that when you change something fundamental to your survival, where you're living, for example, your income, your job, your marriage, even your diet, of course, that's something that a lot of people are working on these days. The ego is going to see it as a threat because you're changing something. It has designed all of this stuff to keep you alive. If you had a traumatic childhood, it has come up with strategies throughout your lifetime to keep you safe. If you had a family that was poor, for example, you may have decided the only way for you to feel safe was to have a lot of money. And if that was a decision that you made with your powerful creative mind when you were young, you will make sure you have a lot of money one way or the other. It will not care how you get that money. For some people who grow up in chaotic, poor environments, they become drug dealers or prostitutes. Their way of getting a lot of money fit in with the environment with which they were raised. Other people who were raised in chaotic, poor environments got out of that chaotic, poor environment. They may have chosen sports as their way out. They may have practiced. It's a survival mechanism. Now, when these behavioral things, and you all have them, perhaps you had a judgmental parent, perhaps you were raised in a religious community, you will have survival mechanisms that your ego developed based on the natal family, based on the culture and the family within which you were raised. Now, fast forward 20 or 30 years, these things may be causing a problem now. They may be keeping you stuck in a paradigm, a way of life, a worldview that is no longer suited to your current environment. So, for example, some people raised in that chaotic, poor environment that get lots of money may still behave as if they are poor. They may not buy themselves new clothes. They may not buy themselves new sheets for the bed. They may live in a small house because a part of them is stuck in the past. So this is something that we want you all to think about as you're going through the changes that are coming to you in this society. Some of you are preemptively changing your location, for example. So for example, Carol has moved to the Black Hills of South Dakota, preemptively choosing to go somewhere that feels more in alignment, rather than sticking with the old that she and her partner knew. Carol was guided and sort of galloped as fast as she could towards that goal. Now, that doesn't mean that it was easy. It doesn't mean that there weren't adjustments. It doesn't mean that there weren't heated discussions in the family. But what it meant was she was listening to her guidance, and now things are all settled. The guidance was good. For some of you, the guidance is not so clear. And this is an important thing for you all to understand at this time. Confusion, mixed emotions, anxiety. Should I do this? Should I do that? What is going on there is conditioned mind is battling with guidance. So you get the idea to move to a new location. Oh, but the mortgage is this, and the kids have friends, and the garden is this, and the house is that. Oh, but you get the feeling it's time to move, and then you go back. The mortgage is this, the kids have friends. You are battling yourself. There is guidance, and then there is conditioning. You can't move your children when they're in school. That's a conditioning program. It's not true. Of course, you can move your children when they're in school. School, as you know, is not the most beneficent thing for your children. But a happy family is, a secure and loving environment is important. So when you're confused, when you have mixed emotions, when there are big ups and downs, we want you to understand that this is what is going on. Most of you think that your conditioned mind is you. And that's where the problem comes in. You do not realize that you have two streams of information coming through you in the form of thought and feeling. Generally, feelings are coming from spirit, and thinking is coming from conditioning. Now, we're saying that in general. Often when you are getting guidance, you'll get a strong feeling to do something. When the feeling comes up, the thoughts will come in. That's going to be dangerous. You're going to lose money. Your husband or wife is not going to like it. And that's a good way of discerning what is going on. But if you're having that kind of conflict, and many people are in deep conflict right now because they're having to make really important decisions about their finances, about their homes, about their where they live and their families, all kinds of very important things are coming up. That's what we'd like you to contemplate. What form is this taking? Is it taking the form of thoughts, words in your head, or is it coming in the form of, I have the feeling to do this and I can't explain why? Now, once you have discerned, oh no, this is conditioning, this is my mother's voice, this is the church's voice, this is school's voice, this is the McDonald's commercial voice, and this is something that a lot of people who have food issues are dealing with. They are dealing with food programming from their childhoods and from their youth when they watch thousands and thousands and thousands of commercials. It has been proven in modern society that people recognize about 200 different logos. How do you think those logos are recognized? They are recognized because you've been programmed through visual images on TVs and commercials and social media, that kind of thing, but mostly from your childhood and youth when you were completely unaware of how influential those media were. So understand that this is something that everybody is going through right now. And we want you to recognize that there is nothing wrong with you if you're confused or you don't quite know what to do. But once you understand what's going on inside your mind, and once you know what's going on inside your guidance system, then you are able to tease those two streams of thought apart from each other and say, oh, okay, this is something I've always done. This is what I was taught in my family, but it's counter to what I actually feel like will make me happy. And then you begin to see, I'm not confused because I'm stupid. I'm not confused because I'm getting bad information. These things were all tangled up together. And now I'm going to tease them apart and say, the feeling to do this is positive and interesting to me and exciting. And then all of this wet blanket stuff comes on to put the fire out. And this is what most of your conditioning programs are in this society. They are conditioning programs to put the fire of spirit and your guidance system out.